How's it going? I'm Evan Inada from Columbus Craft Meats.
I'm Niki Wente.
And I'm Ali Wente. We're with Wente Family Vineyards. We are learning all things charcuterie today, and we want to know, you're looking at this beautiful board, how do you take a charcuterie board from just good to something really special and great?
The items you choose to make a charcuterie board is really what makes it special. Choosing the right items between the meat, the cheese, are always going to be the two stars of every charcuterie board. And then adding the little accoutrements, the acidity of like a fresh fruit or a pickled pepper, and then the crunch of something like a cracker or a nut adds this beautiful textural value to the charcuterie board, as well as some beautiful aesthetics to it.
And is there a strategy on where you put each item on the board?
You know, there really isn't necessarily a strategy that you could go wrong with, but for me, I love inviting people to eat when they're looking at it by pairing the right salami with the right cheese all next to each other. So building these perfect pairings, perfect bites, all close to each other so they could easily go from bite to bite and really get the most out of their charcuterie.
It's so many different salamis. What are the differences? How do you know the difference? And how do we know how to pair it with those different cheeses?
Yeah, there's a lot of different nuances, but one thing is it always all starts with wine. So for us, dry aged pork, we need that wine factor in there to continue the dry aging of our salami. But what really separates us in our portfolio, we have a lot of different variety of sizes as well as shapes. So we have our medium diameter, which is our Italian dry. So for us, our Italian dry, we're one of the inventors of the Italian dry in San Francisco. Just like your group was the first ones to really bring Chardonnay grapes into the California coast, making a name for ourselves in the artisan field. Artisan Italian dry, we have a little bigger, wider diameter in terms of a soppressata. You could always go with something like a hot soppressata with a beautiful kind of European chop of fat to it. We also have these natural casing salamis. So our Secchi salami has this beautiful natural fiore on the outside. So when you cut that down, it really adds some beautiful aesthetics onto the board. And then you can never forget about the full muscle pieces. So something like a colpo or a prosciutto has that boldness and the meatiness to go great with the red wine pairings especially.
So how do you get the spice in the salami?
You know, just adding the proprietary spices in the mix before we started, and then just kind of letting it dry age and hang and let the magic work together. Just like when you put the wine into the oak barrels and let it mature, same thing when it comes to salami. We're putting the spices in and letting it mature into the beauty that finishes off with the salami right here. How
long are you dry aging?
So it really depends on the diameter. So the larger the diameter of the salami, the more time we let it just dry age to that perfection. And our salumiere masters, they're perfect at their craft, so they could walk through our halls, touch it, and let us know when it's ready to be pulled. But for wine, how do you really kind of separate yourself, just like charcuterie, from basic to the next level?
So for me, I run our vineyard department, and I think that a great wine comes from great soil. So you have to start out with really good soil where you're planting your grapevines. And from there, it just gets easier. You can't make a bad wine from good grapes, you know? So really focusing on soil health, focusing on vine health is what you're gonna get really great fruit quality to produce a really excellent wine.
And I think similar to you guys, as you've pioneered and crafted these different salamis, like you mentioned, we have been doing that in Livermore, and we really see everything from grape to glass. When we sustainably farm our vineyards, we make our own wine and we bottle it, and so there's a lot of pride in the process, and I see the similarity here between Columbus and Wente.
Yeah, the experts really, there is that beautiful pride in the process of what we're doing here. So end result is always beautiful.
And it's always about bringing people together. That's what wine is, that's what Columbus is, that's what these charcuterie boards bring people together.
When you have the different sizes and shapes on the salami, then you can take what you have and then just fold it into the board. So pick the spots that you want to place all the beautiful salami slices in, and then fold it either halfway, or you could fold it into a rose, or you could just twist it however you want onto different spots on the board, with the darker red, the bolder, spicier flavors like the hot soppressata here going great with your red variety, and then the Chardonnay going great with our milder selection of like a soppressata or even a little Italian dry right here in the front.
All right, Evan, I'm walking up to this board, I'm at a party, I have a Cabernet in my glass.
Okay.
What am I doing here?
So with a cab, you want to go with something a little bolder, a little bit of spice to it. So I would definitely go with this hot sopressata right here. I would pick something a little bolder aged cheese, so something like a espresso belvitano, and then you get something like that sweetie drop pepper, perfect little acidity as a pop of acid to really balance out all those nice bold flavors in your red.
I have Chardonnay in my glass. Where should I go from here?
You know, Chardonnay, I always love focusing in on that little butteriness and the little acidity at the end. So I would go with something like this. Charcuterie boards are always great for the looks, but then to invite people in, building things into cones is a really good way to do it. So just a perfect little bite. We have a little bit of sopressata, fresh chev, and a cantaloupe to go great together. And then there's a little balsamic on there as well to go great with the little Chardonnay and the tang at the end.
And this is so easy to just pick up and go.
Yeah, it's very inviting when you make it into cones. It just draws people in. Even if they don't know how to pronounce charcuterie, they'll still give it a shot.
Exactly.
You just want it. It's like an adult ice cream cone.
Oh, yeah, easy.